What's going on, guys? It's Salvaje and we're back at it again with another Fortnite Save the World in-depth weapon review, and here is my Save the World weapon review for, of course, the Trooper Assault Rifle. And this is part of the base game, which is why I wanted to review it in the first place, because a couple of you guys might have this weapon and you might be wondering, is my schematic XP worth putting into this weapon? As always, my supporter creator code is Salvaje. Please feel free to do so. It helps me out tremendously. With that said, let's get into the review. As you guys know, I have been working on my review for the Trooper for the past couple of months, like I've stated on a couple of reviews and a couple of my Save the World videos, and there's a reason why it's taken me months to review this weapon, and of course we're gonna talk about that later. Let's talk about the good stuff. Well, this is a really, good precision-based weapon, I guess you could say. If you want a precision-based playstyle, a weapon to use at the medium ranges, this is the weapon to go with, alright? I guess you could say it doesn't have that much of a bad reload speed, so that's also pretty good. This weapon's garbage. Alright, it's really bad. I don't want to sit here and tell you the weapon is mediocre and maybe you should put your schematic XP into it, because quite honestly, even if you're in Stonewood, I still think that you should not level up this weapon. The only reason why I'm being brutally honest is because I don't want you guys to spend your hard-earned schematic XP on a weapon that is really inconsistent. You guys remember earlier in the video when I said that it's taken me months to review this weapon? The reason for that is, it's because this weapon is so bad that every time I would use it at the high levels of play, and even when I would use it at the lower levels of play like high-end Canny Valley, I felt like I wasn't dishing out consistent damage and I was literally weighing down my team. So I had to stop using the weapon and basically start using a weapon like the Siegebreaker or the Wraith Assault Rifle, or basically just anything that isn't this weapon. But I don't just want to say that the weapon's bad, and I actually want to explain myself. This weapon has a really slow rate of fire, okay? Like I said earlier, the fire rate on this weapon is just so bad that the weapon just isn't able to provide consistent damage per second. And even when I use this weapon with an Urban Assault Headhunter or a First Shot Rio, which of course is a hero that increases the fire rate of weapons because of specific abilities or of course perks, the weapon, in my opinion, just still isn't consistent enough, at least when it comes down to just base game assault rifles, or of course, I guess you could say the biggest all-around assault rifle, the Siegebreaker. There are simply better choices out there, and I really do believe that if you are just a Stonewood player and you just got this weapon from a llama, listen, just don't level up this weapon. You're just going to be wasting your schematic XP, or level up the weapon and then recycle it and then put that schematic XP into another weapon. Now, another thing that really holds back this weapon is also the bloom that it has. The bloom sometimes just feels really random. One of the things that I realize is that even though this is a precision-based weapon, sometimes at the medium ranges and long ranges, the bloom would just make one of my two bullets, the only two bullets that I fire, basically miss because the bullets just went all over the place. When it comes down to attacking base game modes like destroy the encampments, rescue the survivors, build the radar, the weapon is also not really consistent, since the slow fire rate of course really holds the back, and again, the weapon just doesn't have enough consistent damage to put in the work. And of course, I also like to rate weapons based on how they perform with your gadgets and your teammates' gadgets. And one of the things that I realized as I was testing this weapon throughout the past couple of months is that this weapon just doesn't do any work. For the most part, the gadgets that you throw down, the abilities that you use, are going to be doing about 80 to 90% of the damage to the husk. And this weapon is probably going to do about 10% damage. You are going to be able to melt basic husk with this weapon easily, I'll give it that. Husklings, they get completely deleted with the weapon. But since the weapon has a really slow fire rate, you're going to be able to eliminate a couple of hustling, and by the time you eliminate a couple of hustling, there's going to be husky husk and other basic husk basically at your range. And you're going to be at a point where basically you're not going to be able to defend yourself, specifically again on these attacking based game modes. Like I said earlier in the video, right? I don't just like to review a weapon based on its individual performance. I want to see other factors. I want to see team play. I want to see gadgets in play. But the truth is, this weapon just isn't good enough on any situation. Recommended perks, go for a critical rating, critical damage build if you want to take it all the way up to legendary. If you want to take the critical rating all the way up to legendary, because you're going to have it at 43%. And trust me, you're going to need all the damage that you want with this weapon. Put a magazine size on it there as well. I understand that I didn't review this weapon with full legendary perks, but the truth is, there's a lot of great weapons out there that perform really good with blue and green perks. And as I kept watching this weapon perform, and I kept thinking about other base game assault rifles that are better than this weapon, and other assault rifles out there that aren't super great but are still perform better than this weapon, I just realized, wow, this weapon is just really bad. And I'm sorry that I was harsh on the weapon, boys, but again, I just want to bring you guys accurate and truthful Save the World reviews. When it comes down to the star rating, 2 out of 5 stars. Listen, I was going to give this weapon a 1 out of 5 stars, but the only reason why I decided to settle for a 2 out of 5 stars, it's because the weapon can somewhat hold its ground when you are playing in a team environment where the teammates are dishing out consistent damage, and on top of all that, the weapon can be somewhat reliable when it comes down to the defending type modes where you're only defending one objective, like repair the shelter and evacuate the shelter, retrieve the data, etc, etc. Hope you guys enjoyed the review. Peace out.